So for step 7, attaching the pinion gear. Well, this is where we're going to attach the pinion gear and put the motor through this mount, which will allow us to attach it to the gearbox in the next step. Now, what was interesting was, and I have to laugh, but the pinion gear, I was searching through the bag trying to find it because I was expecting it to be metal, and it was just sitting in the bag of the leftover gears that we still have to work with. And it's just a plastic one. And because it's so small, they're essentially just wanting you to push it into place onto the pin, which of course is, in our case, we're going to put it on the hop-up Sport Tune motor, and we're just going to push it onto the end piece there. Interesting. Yeah, so there's not a lot to it. So I'll set this up and let's put it together. So first off, let's get this motor out of the bag. And there's instructions, there's an Allen key, and a brass piece there too in the bag. Interesting. So I don't know what the difference is. So let's take a look. So, surprise, surprise, my plans with this trike have changed. Because it turns out that when you have the hop-up Sport Tune motor, you cannot use the pinion gear that came with the kit because it's different. So here's the standard 370 motor. Notice that the pin here is totally round. Well, on the Sport Tune one, it's not. It's like a regular 540 in a sense. There's a flat end, so you need a grub screw. So this motor, you have to have an optional pinion gear, which they're showing here in the instructions, where you need a 26 or a 27 tooth. But they're also saying that in order for this to be used, you need to not only have this other pinion gear, you need a full set of ball bearings. Well, fair enough, that's what I've done anyway. But you need the one-piece rear axle shaft set and the reinforced differential joint and pinion set. Now, it's kind of funny in one sense, but when I did the TTO2D drift kit, it was basically saying with a Sport Tune motor, you absolutely had to use a set of ball bearings for it because it would just wear out the plastic and metal bushings way too fast. So if you use a Sport Tune motor with your Dancing Rider, not only do you need the bearings, but there's a whole bunch of other things that you need as well. So I'm not going to use this right now. I want to get this thing built. So my new thoughts with this is I'm going to build it standard. Let's see how it goes. And in the meantime, I will look at these items and see why and what, what they are. And I may order them at a later date, and then we'll we'll basically rebuild it with the new parts. But for now, I want to get on with it. So we're actually going to go back to the standard 370. We'll put the Sport Tuned away for now, and we can continue with the build. So let's start again, because now we're going to use the regular standard 370 motor. So you can see here, black, red. I don't know if it makes any difference, but we'll kind of build it the way that they're suggesting. We need to grab this end cap here, make sure that that clip piece is sitting at the top, and you'll notice there's no motor mount exactly. It's going to screw in directly. So we'll put that there, and we'll screw this into place. Grab the other one, screw that into place. And now that they're in place, I'm just going to tighten them up a bit here. Make sure that that is on. Go back and forth just to make sure. I'm happy with that. So ultimately that is how this is going to look. And then we've got the pinion gear to put on. So we're going to need to push that into place. Now I have a feeling, just because, it's going to be easier to start it this way, because I've got something to push. There we go. Looks about right. So you can see in terms of the positioning, it needs to come pretty close to the end there. So I'm going to push it this way. Let's see if we can't. There we go. Needs to come a lot closer. It's a tight fit, but then rightly so. I've got to be able to push that on more than I'm able to at the moment. Doesn't want to budge too much. It's getting there. I just got to push it in a bit more. So I'm just going to try it off camera to try and put a little bit more leverage on this so I can see it, and then we'll take another look at this. So there we go. I've managed to get it on, and the pin is pretty much level with the edge of the pinion gear, and you can see that when you put this on here, if I match it up pretty much where it's supposed to be, it's pretty bang on from my angle. So I'm okay with that. That looks good to me. So it's on. Now you might find that this is the hardest part of the entire build, because that is actually really tight. Like, you have to put on a lot of pressure, and I was finding it very difficult even with my thumbs to try and push it on. I did manage to do it, as you can see, but it wasn't that easy. Anyway, as you can see, the only real thing that we've got left over is you can see that the cable comes out and gets caught underneath this bit right here. So we'll do that. So it's looking like they're showing the red ones coming first. We'll squeeze that round and slide it under, just like that. And then we'll do the same thing with the black cable. So they are there and out of the way. So it looks pretty cool. It's a tiny little thing, but that's awesome. So step 7 is complete. So we're going to move on to step 8 now, and we're going to attach the motor. Well, this is going to be another fairly simple step, because we essentially are going to just attach this motor to the gearbox. And you can see that the plastic part that we put on has 2 holes, and the 2 screws are going to go and fit into either side of the gearbox with these 2 screws that I've put aside here. So I'll set this up and let's attach the motor. So if we grab our gearbox, you can see that this end is facing towards you. And then you can see that with this, they want this part where we put the cables to be at the top. And you can see how that's going to sit. It's going to essentially fit on here, just like that, fitting into those 2 holes right there. So let's grab one of the screws, and I'll start that in, and I'll do the same with the other side. And again, I like to go back and forth just to make sure that things are attaching themselves without any binding. Seems good to me on that one. So we'll do the same on this side. And that's that. So there we go. There is our motor attached. The pinion gear sticks out. So we are good to go. So that is step 8. Very short and sweet. So we can now move on to step 9, which is attaching the spur gear.